Tao with professor at Lu University, and so they're back in town. Xibhwb Txojlus, paying to niece and nephew-in-law, and so to Georgia, I think, or to Nchaiv for a little bit. Not only that, I had the pleasure of meeting Xibhwb maybe about 15 or 20 years ago. At that time, he was a very well-spoken person. He was humble as well. And I thought to myself that maybe God has plans for him, and sure enough, 15, 20 years later, he is a pastor. When you meet him, you will know that he's always smiling. But there's only one thing that I don't like about him. He's a die-hard Kansas City fan. So we have to convert him to be an Atlanta Falcons fan. So let's welcome Xibhwb.
It's really hard to be a Falcons fan when you lose 30-0. Nevertheless, I will, of course, become a fan at some point. So I love football, I do, but because I've lived overseas for quite some years now, football isn't football as we know it here. Football overseas is soccer, as we call it here. And so I'm still trying to readjust back to calling football, because I used to call it American football to my friends back in Hong Kong. Especially this past May, I had the opportunity to go to Vietnam. While in Vietnam, we went to visit this village, and this village was called Nchaiv. And the interesting thing about this village is that this village, although it was in Vietnam, the majority of people living in this village, they were Thai people. So, and not just any Thai people, but they were Thai people who still lived on stilt houses. So if you don't know what stilt houses are, they're very high up, all right? Because they're afraid that when the waters come and it floods, or animals or tigers or things like that come, they could be built up higher, so they're not afraid of those things. So and as we were going to the town, the two of my tour guides, they were kind of telling us a little bit about this village. And as we were driving through it, they pointed out this lady. They said to us, they're like, hey, she's mom. And so they saw her and they said, she's mom. Up to this moment, and so, up to this moment, I've never told them that I was mom. And when they say that, I told them, I was like, hey, I'm mom too, right? And so they were shocked, shell-shocked. They were so surprised that I was mom. They're like, where are you from? I'm like, America, right? So it's like, oh, you're mom and you're from America? Right? So there's a lot of history there, right, in Vietnam about these two groups. And so later on, we go into our homestay, and we're staying there, and I see these two gentlemen, they come back rushing to me. Rồi bố mà giờ bố sáng cao của một sai từ nè. They took me around the corner, and lo and behold, the Hmong lady was right there. Okay, so bố bà cha thì bố cứ biết chút kiện đấy, để bố nung khăn nung chi của nó mà. Để cho bố Hmong đấy cũng nông lên của đấy, có nhiều Hmong. Đi Tết ở nó là mà, đi Tết ở của nhiều Hmong ha. Để cũng nông lên có nhiều Hmong, chị nào là chị có lúc có nhiều Hmong sinh con chị của hai là cho nên. Thì đi Tết này nó chịu, nè ta, có nhiều Hmong sao? Ê còn này. Nè hà luôn đó chỉ mà cũng chỉ tao thôi hết cả. Muốn nông nè hà của đó. I think she's saying that, right? Để của cha lên Tết, của cha của nhiều Hmong hơi. The bishop, we were talking for a little bit, in case those of y'all that don't know, she has a different dialect, right? Nên nhiều Hmong nhắn lăng trống. Yeah, us Hmong people, there's a lot of different dialects. Bên Hmong Klơi, bên Hmong Lèn, bên Hmong Blue, bên Hmong Pan. Rồi có Hmong Thái Tê, con chi Hmong Thái có hà lùng Thái trống. Yeah, có Hmong Dù nhắn lăng Tê, có hà lùng nhắn lăng trống. Bên lù Tết cho mẹ cả là biết rồi, Hmong mẹ cả bên hà lùng mẹ cả trống ha. Yeah, and then của sáng khá chúng mẹ I found out that I am neither Hmong Klơi nor she Hmong Lèn. I am Hmong Shaw. Yam mich to lo zu Hmong Shaw. Mo te lu ku yo ha lu, no no. Me nyon de me nong ku ha lu. Te sha me nyon sa te me tu king ta. Ba Shaw ni ha ni ka ko chi to ta. And that's the reason that we are Hmong Shaw no, okay? All right? I'm not pointing fingers, but maybe this side over here, you're Hmong Shaw, okay? Alright? So you go have to learn more kichi. Okay? Today I will be speaking in both English and Hmong, and so please bear with me if my Hmong is off there. One day, I'm going to mẹ học của anh, với sáng shay từ tuần này nhớ cho nó mong mà chỉ cho chúng mình sẽ mình chỉ bao nhiêu từ hai ya. So, hai phần mình chỉ từ in Hmong fashion. Let me just go ahead and introduce my dad to you guys, okay? All right, because that's how we do it here, right? Cụ chỉ, cụ bảo đấy ha, cụ chỉ lúc bé chúng mình nhớ mình bao cụ chỉ thì chưa mình bao của ha, rồi chỉ bao là chỗ này cả. Cụ chỉ lúc bé hồ thấy tổ hơn, nhớ khen xã thôi, nên tao cho lúc bắt đây nó chơi, tao nên gọi xong nó lại cái gì thằng này chỉ, nên nhớ nữa từ sư phụ cho and so đấy là dad của chị. So yeah, afterward em tham gia đến mà do tham chú. I graduated from Crown College. Là chị biết được mong bên mô Crown College. In the youth ministry degree and a minor in TESOL. So cô cầu tới ta cho về Crown College, chị Crown College nói cầu ta để cô mua cầu ta ở khá sư phụ là mà vậy. Shortly after, I flew halfway across the world to Seoul, Korea, of all places, to teach English. And so, cô cần tới ta để cô chỉ mong sư phụ ha, cô ta cô để từ cái nhà mong sai tích trở trở là nhà mong nhiều gì, để cô sáng cô tu kiên để cô mong ôn nu ý sống cho tích trở thôn mà chắc chắn nu trẻ mà là sư phụ là What was supposed to only be 1 year turned out to be 4 years in Korea. And while I was in Korea, I also received my Master's of Education there as well. And then the Lord called me back home. I just kind of did things here and there, and eventually I heeded the call to ministry. New Life Fellowship Church, Kansas City, Kansas. Cụ thể những chỉ nhỏ Kansas là chỉ có sư phụ để bé cụ chỉ một nhỏ hoặc cho nó nhập một nhỏ California, Long Beach, San Diego, để bé một nhỏ Milwaukee, Wisconsin ha. Cụ thể cũng một cần đợi trong Minnesota, thì cụ là sư phụ ban thì cụ là sư phụ ban cho Ipan Jane, Mỹ nhỏ cho Statesville, to Bolivia, and so I've kind of been all around here and there. And so as I was pastoring or being the assistant pastor to New Life Fellowship Church, the Lord really tugged at my heart to go back overseas. And so in 2016 was when I became the pastor. And shortly after, I married my wife. So we've been married for 9 years now to this year. And shortly after that, the Lord really just called us to Hong Kong. So, 이거 스스로 진대래 이 성도스 때 간지 총이샤 the Nissan San Yumon and so that country was Hong Kong, and we sailed off there very, very quick. And so I want to share with you guys a little bit about Hong Kong because I'm sure a few of you guys are kind of curious about life in Hong Kong and what we did there in Hong Kong. Hong Kong make déjà bien sang me o aji cho be Hong Kong han ya thank you cho get he gave that introduction, but there were a few mistakes in there. So blessings to you, brother. In Hong Kong, each not to show she we were in Hong Kong for 8 years, and although 8 years doesn't seem like it's that long, or felt like it was that long, it's actually quite a long time as well. If you didn't know anything about Hong Kong, it is a beautiful city. Hong Kong, actually, my apologies, I can't call it anymore. Hong Kong is not a country, it is a city, okay, all right? I don't want to get there, okay, all right? But it is a beautiful city, often referred to as the concrete jungle. Building, concrete jungle is the literal known translation because everywhere you go, nothing but high rises and skyscrapers. And so it's a very beautiful, very wonderful place to live here, and especially if you're a city person, it's very, very nice. You know, we still have to adjust here and there to life here in Georgia because here compared to there, it's night and day. This right here is one of the most iconic scenes about Hong Kong. This is a picture, obviously, but this scenic view right here, right? This is, of course, an iconic site looking into Hong Kong Island, where you see a ton of skyscrapers over there, and a lot of people go here at night to visit it because it's very bright there. There was actually a time during COVID, COVID. There's nothing else like this, right? There's nothing else like this. And so we decided to stay a little bit longer. Now, aside from these skyscrapers, Hong Kong is also really well known for its neon signs. We did show Hong Kong as she and so it's very much still like this in Hong Kong, and these neon lights, they just really glisten into the night. So it's very, very, very beautiful. Now, as far as a job goes, again, it's a Daniel, thank you so much for your introduction, but I wasn't a professor, professor. Yeah, I was a Bible teacher, a high school Bible teacher, and so my wife and I, we both worked at this school. It's called International Christian School in Hong Kong. And if you didn't know about education, in particular in Asia, it is very, very competitive. Okay, what I mean by competitive is parents are willing to just spend college tuition for their child's primary and secondary education. Okay, that's how expensive it gets. And this is not just in Hong Kong. I was in Korea. It was the same thing in Korea, right? They go to school night and day. Okay, all right. So it's very, very expensive. And so we were at International Christian School. If I had a nickel for every time someone called me a missionary, I had enough money to buy my own house in Hong Kong. Hong Kong is the most expensive city in the world to live in. Hong Kong chế ilu giò là chế ilu city đó, ilu giò cái pin gì mà nó kỳ hình lên, kỳ chắc còn dùng bát tê mà it is very very expensive. Tôi chỉ muốn nói rằng tôi chỉ một cái từ sáu mươi triệu này ya, của chị hay từ sáu mươi triệu cái từ Nchaiv carbon Txojlus. And so although I say that, people, they weren't entirely wrong. They weren't entirely wrong. My wife and I, as I mentioned, both worked at the same place, in this school right here. And as I was a high school Bible teacher, she worked in the admissions office and the athletics department. And so she did kind of the behind the work scenes there. This school building right here that you see on the photo right here, I don't know if you guys can envision it, but if you can envision two hands doing this, kind of feed on my they built this building looking like that, okay, right? So it's kind of a blessing. They want this school building to be a blessing to Hong Kong. And not only that, but at the edge of the hands right here, they're actually pointing up north. And so it's twofold, right? To educate with the Christian education, but secondly, to send the gospel up north to mainland China. And so, lúc chế cần nói bố chiều ôi là bố sẽ chỉ bố ôi với mua ilu học pa ôi lúc chế cần nói chỉ có ta vẫn chỉ tụi cho mình nhớ cái cần nói sẽ chỉ bố sang sự mong cho soạn lúc hàng. And so that's what this building is kind of shaped like that. And so this was the building that was there. We were there for 8 years working here. A great place to work at. We enjoyed our time there. In particular for me, I taught quite a few classes as a Bible teacher, a high school Bible teacher. Mình cho cái TE là she MSP để cho mình dùng用là dùng zu cho bên nó. These were some of the classes that I taught at the high school level. Okay, so Life of Christ, Christian apologetics, leadership, evangelism, and discipleship, that's what the lead is. Spiritual formation, church history, doctrine and theology, and Christ and culture. And so throughout my 8 years, I've taught a variety of topics and different classes to our high school students in hopes that they would become planet shakers as they get out into the world and to serve the Lord as they do so. We can lưu hông là xin đào dạng cho mình nhớ cái nhớ cho grade cầu một chút grade cầu on there. Those were the grades that I taught, grades 10 to 12. Now outside of teaching, as mentioned earlier, I am a big football fan. I grew up playing basketball too. I know some of y'all here, you guys remember back in the blue days, right? I know you guys are very competitive. Georgia folks represent hard with your Georgia Bulldog shirts and blue. I remember those days, so I was there to witness all of that, right? We're not going to get into the East Coast and West Coast thing for the OGs out there, right? But I grew up enjoying basketball as well. And so when I had the opportunity to coach basketball at my school, I took it, right? I took it to coach. And so I remember my first practice, I had 8 girls showing up to practice, right? And 6 out of those 8 girls have never dribbled a basketball before. Okay, all right. But more he do Nchaiv coach now. And more job to stop going before them. Without this is going to be tough and rough, right? And so we practice, and by the grace of God, this was actually taken during my first game ever as a coach. We won our first game, right? We won our first game by the grace of God. Unfortunately, that would be our only win that entire season. We went 1-6. 1-6 that season. So coaching was fun. It allowed me to do things outside of the classroom with these students. But by far, my favorite time of the year was in May. So, Thu chi liền đợi để xa với chỗ mình nhộn mong để trở tới mong ô vận chuyển tên để cái những lần mà if you want to call it that. So we send them out. We can call them mission trips and things like that. And so I've been to many countries. Philippines, Malaysia, Vietnam, I just mentioned. And this photo right here is actually taken in Israel. And so I had an opportunity to go to Israel. This is the Jordan River, okay? The Jordan River. Okay, so this is the same Jordan River that Jesus was baptized in by John the Baptist. And so during this trip to Israel, 7 of our students decided to dedicate their lives to Christ, and I had the honor of baptizing them in the Jordan River. And so this was really a special moment for me and a very cool experience as well. So this, along with coaching, really allowed for me to minister to students. And so although my title was a teacher, I had a lot of opportunities to minister to students outside of my classroom. Okay, all right. So it was really fun, and so if you want to call me a missionary, you can. I prefer there is a kind of a category for that. They call it marketplace ministry. I would belong under that umbrella of marketplace ministry. So this was my job. It was a fun job. It was a really, really fun job in Cordu. I don't want to forget about my wife. This was her team. This was her team of the admissions team. And so, as I mentioned earlier, our schools, the schools in Hong Kong, they're all very competitive. And so in order for you to get into a school, you not only have to pay a hefty price, but you have to go through an interview process, okay, all right? So this is a very long process where they see how smart your child is, how well they behave, etc., etc., etc. And then they're like, okay, yes, you can pay us a lot of money to come here, okay, all right? But even so, there's always a waiting list as well, and so that's how competitive it is. Nchaiv Yeej coworkers So they were a great team and a fun team to talk and to chat about. So that's our life in Hong Kong, or if it was our life in Hong Kong, and that's what we did. And so if you call me missionary, I'm fine with that, but I do want to let you know that I wasn't a missionary. Okay, I was just a high school Bible teacher, but I ministered to those that I came in touch with. Okay, all right. And so, if you have questions, if you're pondering, especially young people, about what to do in your life, and if you want to hear a little bit more about a different kind of life overseas, feel free to come and chat with me. This is one topic that I enjoy talking about. I'm by no means a